Honorable dignitaries and friends, today, 10th November 2022, we are here to celebrate the 21st World Science Day for Peace and Development. This day is to highlight the important role of science and in the society. It also highlights the need to engage the wider public debates on emerging scientific issues. History of celebration of World Science Day goes back to July of the year 1999. There was World Conference on the Science in Budapest, Hungary, which had been co-organized by UNESCO and the International Council for the Science. The delegations of Ethiopia and Malawi, together with the British Association for Advancement for the Science, proposed that a World Science Day or Science Week be created. Subsequently, the action plan adopted to promote the broad-based scientific literacy and the culture. It was approved by UNESCO in the October 2000. Subsequently, it was endorsed in the Paris October-November of the year 2001. The very first World Science Day was celebrated in the year 2002. The theme of World Science Day for this year is Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development. Application of the sciences are vital for advances in the medicine, industry, agriculture, water resources, energy planning, environment, communication, and the culture. World Science Day is contributing this 2022 year through this theme. Scientific discipline providing a fundamental concept of natural phenomena and processes of transformation of natural resources are called as the basic sciences. Mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology are the examples for the basic sciences. Basic science is essential to achieve agenda of future and the goals of sustainable development in expectation of United Nations General Assembly. The share of domestic research expenditure devoted to the basic sciences varies from one country to another. According to the data from UNESCO Science Report of 86 countries for the year 2021, some countries devote less than 10% of their research expenditure to the basic sciences and others more than 30%. Having capacity in the basic sciences in interest of both developed and developing countries, given potential for applications to foster a sustainable development and raise the standards of the living. For example, a growing number of people around the world suffer from diabetes. Thanks to laboratory studies of the ways in which the genes can be manipulated to make the specific protein molecules, scientists are able to engineer genetically a common bacterium E. coli to produce synthetic human insulin. The basic research has led to breakthrough that have spawned not only a new technologies but even entirely a new field of science. One of the most prominent example of ties between the basic science and the social change is the transistor. When the first transistor radio came on the market in the early 1950s, it was the fruit of almost 50 years of basic research in the public laboratories. The computer chip followed the first integrated circuit. Since then, the miniaturization of integrated circuits has been made possible to manufacture ever smaller mechanical, electronic, and optical devices. Today's smartphones use millions of minuscule transistors to perform the complex processes. The discovery of double helical structure of DNA in the year 1953 laid the foundation for modern genetics and genomics. This discovery was followed in the year 2003 by another breakthrough, the sequencing of the human genome, which provided insights into the mysteries of genetic variations or why an individual unique molecular and genetic profile makes them susceptible to particular disease. This discovery helped to improve the treatment of genetic diseases and spawned the field of precision medicine, which tailors a medical treatment to the patient's individual characteristics. Invented in the year 1983 by American biochemist Carrie Banks Mullis, the polymerase chain reaction, that is PCR, is the technique used to copy a teeny segment of DNA. PCR acts like a magnifying glass, making it easier to analyze these DNA segments. PCR has a wide range of applications. It can be used to detect the presence of bacteria and viruses such as in food, in water, or in the body of patients. Over the past 2 years, PCR has been used countless times to test individuals' infection with the COVID-19. PCR can also be used to detect the genetic disorder or to further our understanding of evolutionary relationship between different organisms. In forensics, the PCR can be used to identify the criminal on the basis of sample left behind at the crime scene, such as hair follicle. Carrie Banks Mullis was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in the year 1993 for this revolutionary discovery. Supporting science-based decision making recalls that mathematical methods have been used during the COVID-19 pandemic to design vaccines more efficiently and to model vaccine hesitancy as a social phenomenon. Under mathematics of planet Earth, the mathematics community across the globe produced this present toolkit entitled Mathematics for the Action Supporting Science-Based Decision Making. It is meant for the decision makers, scientific advisors, technical advisors, scientific attaches. It is designed to inform about the numerous applications of mathematics and statistics and highlight the strength and potential of the mathematics. In chemistry, the basic research is laying a foundation for green applications such as innocuous alternatives to toxic chemicals and solvents, more energy efficient chemical processes, biodegradable chemicals and waste, and so on. One example of new material have emerged from the basic science research is the graphene. It has a countless potential applications in industry. Graphene is ultralight and much stronger than the steel, yet extremely flexible. Graphene could be incorporated in a rubber soles, for instance, to make the shoes more durable. The discovery of liquid crystals in the year 1888 would make it possible more than a century later to flatten the screens of televisions, computers, and the cell phones. Liquid crystals were first used in the year 1960 in the optical imaging devices. The liquid crystal does not produce light itself but rather draws on an external source such as the backlight on the television to form images, making for low energy consumption. As so often happens in the basic research, liquid crystals were discovered by accident. One key challenge today is a transition to clean form of the energy. Hydrogen is already being used on industrial scale, but hydrogen energy is almost entirely supplied from the coal and the gas. Converting water into hydrogen using artificial photosynthesis by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen molecules could offer a green method of producing hydrogen energy. Artificial photosynthesis is a scheme for capturing and storing energy from sunlight in the chemical bond of the fuel. Catalytic water splitting converts water into hydrogen and oxygen, and it is a major research topic of artificial photosynthesis. Light driven carbon dioxide reduction is another process studied that replicates natural carbon fixation. Growing number of households are turning away from the oil or gas heating towards solar, geothermal, and wood pellet options. Biomass produced using the floating mangrove technology could provide an alternative to cutting down existing mangrove trees illegally to make wood pellets for charcoal production. UNESCO has developed a system of floating mangroves in cooperation with the Morjan and Marinans and Lucille City in the Qatar. The system has been tested since the year 2012. The mangrove seeds have germinated, produced root, stems, pneumatophores, leaves, bark, flower buds, flowers, and new seeds in a floating system. The value of this new system is biomass is that can be produced in a coastal system without the need of agricultural land. Moreover, no fresh water is required for irrigation. Since mangroves are the salt tolerant, mangrove wood pellet would have a great market potential. There is so much we can learn from observing the nature. By studying way in which animals and plants have been adapted to their environment, one can learn how to mimic these coping mechanism in the industry. For instance, the structure of lotus leaves is designed to keep the surface of the leaf clean and dry in the damp condition. Rainwater simply runs off the surface, taking any dirt with it. These properties have inspired coatings of aircraft cabins, which reduce the amount of cleaning fluid required to wash away fingerprints and the spillages left by the hundreds of the passengers. The birds exploit warms, rising air currents, or thermals to fly and gain height without needing to flap their wings, thereby conserving energy. Since the landscape of these currents is complex and continuously changing, we do not yet have a good understanding of exactly how birds find the navigate thermals. Scientists at UNESCO, uh, Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics have used machine learning to identify the navigation strategies that could cope with the and even exploit turbulent fluctuation using learning strategy based on trial and error, which combined numerical simulations of atmospheric flow with reinforcement learning methods. This type of basic research could help in the development of energy efficient long distance autonomous gliders. As mathematics for action recalls, mathematical model can also help to tackle the interrelated crisis of the climate change, biodiversity loss, and water insecurity. They can be quantify the value of ecosystem services and the biodiversity of large estuaries, for example, and enable us to explore the multiple what if scenarios to inform the decision making process. Scientists use climate models as a combination with storylines to produce scenarios of plausible alternative futures. This approach is used, for example, in the reports produced by intergovernmental panels on climate change to inform policymakers of the science behind climate change and their options through plausible scenario for the future. Atmospheric sciences can make a vital contribution to sustainable development. Scientists in UNESCO's Intergovernmental Hydrological Program have worked with University of California, Irvine in USA to develop an algorithm that can estimate real-time precipitation worldwide. This algorithm has enabled them to extract local and regional cloud features such as coldness, texture from an international consultation of satellite in order to inform hydrological services on the ground about the risk of flooding, drought, or the storms and thereby improve emergency planning and the management. The system is now available as the IREN application for the mobile. The University of Ghent in the Belgium has antenna in the Yangambi Biosphere Reserve in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a part of UNESCO's world network of 731 biosphere reserves. In March 2020, the university installed a Congo Flux Tower, the first of its kind in the Congo Basin, some 50 meter tall, and Congo Flux Tower rises 15 meter above the forest canopy as it collects the data over 1 square kilometer radius on exchanges of water vapor and the greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane between the atmosphere and the forest. This data will fill yawning gap in our knowledge, a knowledge of role that the forest plays in carbon sequestration and thereby in limiting the climate change. The basic sciences are the curiosity driven sciences, but they also have a fundamental role in our lives. They enable the necessary means and the tools address the global socio-economic and environmental challenges such as water crisis, infectious diseases, ocean deoxygenation, and climate change. Further awareness of critical functions of the basic sciences need to be built amongst the people. For thousands of years, science and technology have played a huge role in shaping humanity's culture. Going forward, they will help humanity fight its biggest fight at climate change. While renewable technologies like solar and wind will be vital to help us to reduce carbon emission. There are some big obstacles to integrating them into electric grids. One major challenge is that these technologies are not yet advanced enough to handle power outages caused by natural disasters and potential terrorist attacks. Advancements in the renewable technology and artificial technology are expected to help solve this. To make these technologies reality, however, the public needs to be more aware of their significance. This is the list of few references. This attempt is expressing sincere thanks to the administrative staff of Agricultural Development Trust and National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Malegaon, Baramati, for availing the study facilities. The support and inspiration from Delhi office of UNESCO deserve appreciation and exert a grand salutary influence. Thank you for availing me opportunity of presentation. Thank you very much.